Hey, what's going on, everybody? My name is Jay and welcome to the Ship Life. So for today's cruise news, we got to talk about the media hysteria circulating the COVID cases on board the Ruby Princess, as well as potentially other ships. We'll talk about the details in today's video and whether you should be worried or not. Royal Caribbean has also released updated health and safety protocols for the upcoming Alaska cruising season. Also, we have an update on the P&O Ferry saga, as a second ship has now been detained due to failing an inspection. Let's go. So before we start today's video, I do want to apologize to all of you. If you hear my voice, it's very deep, very bland. It's because my voice is pretty much gone. This is all I got. No emotions, no ups and downs. Unfortunately, I had a breakdance competition, so I had a lot of screaming and yelling to do. And then I met up with a good friend of mine that I haven't seen in years that I used to work on board the Norwegian Escape. And we started laughing and talking and had some drinks. And here's the finished product. My voice is pretty much gone, so I do apologize to all of you if it gets a little squeaky and raspy here and there. It's almost as wrinkly as my shirt today. Let's look at it from that scenario. Anyway, let's talk about what's going on with the Ruby Princess, because there is a ton of media hysteria taking place with that specific ship. Now, just to catch everybody up to speed on what's going on, back on March 25th, I did a video talking about potential COVID cases, or they weren't potential, they were confirmed COVID cases by the captain on board the Ruby Princess. Now, at the time, the ship was just completing their 15-day Panama Canal sailing out of San Francisco. Now, there was a passenger that reached out to me, and they sent a letter stating that the captain had asked all the passengers on board to put on a N95 mask. Now, they got a $25 credit for it, and the captain said there was an unknown set of COVID cases on board the ship. Now, the actual media hysteria didn't really take place until the ship got back over to San Francisco. Now, there are many that believe that there was as much as 70 cases of passengers and crew that tested positive for COVID on board that ship. However, keep in mind that the crew on board are fully vaccinated, and I can't confirm this, but I believe most, if not all, are also boosted as well. So the ship went over to San Francisco. That same time, there was another ship, the Majestic Princess, that was also over there. Now, the ship, Ruby Princess, was set to do another, which is on right now, a 15-day Hawaiian cruise. They had a delay. However, they did eventually leave, and like I said, are on that current sailing right now. But the media is jumping all over this situation with the Ruby Princess. They're wondering why there was a delay. They want to know the exact numbers. But either way, this is definitely a big topic of discussion and trending all over the cruise ship industry. By the way, before I continue, I got to put this out there because I know some of you out there are going to talk about how wrinkly my shirt is. Look, it's laundry day. I got to go to a giant cruise event over in Fort Lauderdale tomorrow. Then I got a cruise, and then I got a competition. I'm doing all my washing and buying of new shirts. All right, so this is what we got for today. Deal with it. Now, anyway, when it comes to the Ruby Princess, of course, whenever they had the COVID cases on board, even though we didn't know the exact number, all the positive cases as well as close contacts were isolated in their rooms until the Ruby Princess returned to San Francisco. Now, upon arrival, for the people that still need to continue their quarantine, Princess Cruise Lines put those people in a hotel. Now, again, the ship did have a little bit of delay as far as their sail away, and then you had the Majestic Princess that was at the same port at the same time. There are passengers that are worried, and they're saying that they believe that when it comes to the testing on board, not just Princess ships, but on cruise ships and just testing in general, it's more so becoming like an honor system, meaning that you have some people, let's say if there is some mid-cruise testing like there probably was on the Ruby Princess, some people are kind of dipping and dodging it in the event that they are, let's say, positive and they have to be quarantined and they have to not be able to enjoy the rest of their cruise. Now, is that a possibility? Yeah, definitely. I mean, there's no doubt about it. However, you got to look at everything as a whole as far as what's going on. Like, let's start at the root of the problem. Here's my take on the situation. How in the heck are there COVID cases on board cruise ships when the crew are fully vaccinated, boosted, and even the passengers have to be fully vaccinated in order to sail, and they have to present a negative COVID test that was taken 48 hours prior to their sailing? What the heck is going on? And should you be worried about it? First of all, as far as the worry, I would say no. I always say this when it comes to this particular situation, guys. I believe that context is very, very important. Yes, let's say there were 70 cases of COVID on board the Ruby Princess. Did anybody have to be hospitalized? No. The cases were asymptomatic at the very worst mild cases. Anybody have to be hospitalized? No. You see, my voice is squeaking up. Nobody was deathly ill because of this COVID case, right? We know we had the whole Omicron wave that started at the end of last year. This could be just another Omicron kind of wave passing through the cruise ships. You get it, waves, cruise ships. But anyway, guys, I just think it's one of those situations where, again, context is very important. And if you guys are worried about getting on a ship, just understand that Omicron is everywhere right now. Look at over in the UK and over in Europe. There's spikes everywhere. It's one of those things that whether you guys want to hear it or not, people are learning to live with this virus because people aren't really dying as much as they were. And I get it. One death is one death too many. However, when you look at everything from a global scale, the world has to keep turning and everybody has to keep moving. That's just the reality of life. But either way, guys, of course, I'm going to leave it right here. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. I'm sure there will be an update on this particular topic because, again, the media is running wild with this and they got a close eye on Princess Cruise Lines. Just remember, Princess was essentially the catalyst that started this whole trend of basically just following cruise ships as far as what's going on with COVID and the shutdown and everything. So people have their eye on Ruby and shoot, who knows? Maybe they'll go back to the original source, see what's going on with Diamond Princess. I don't know. Either way, guys, like I said, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Now, moving on, Royal Caribbean has essentially put out everything you need to know about Alaska cruising season. Now, these new health and safety protocols that they are implementing doesn't start until May 31st. My cruise to Alaska is going to be May 13th through May 20th, so I'm guessing this doesn't apply to me, oddly enough. And this is for cruises that will be going out of places like Seattle and, of course, Vancouver. Just keep in mind, though, throughout this, and I'll give you all the details so that you guys have a clear understanding. Things do vary and change depending on if you're sailing out of Seattle or if you're sailing out of Vancouver or over in Canada. So let's go ahead and get to it. So believe it or not, I don't really do this. I typically have a pretty good memory. But for this set of health and safety protocols for Alaska sailings, I actually wrote all this down just for the simple fact that there is a lot of details and I don't want to miss out on any of them or tell you guys the wrong thing. And also with my voice being how it is, I can't really think how I normally would because I'm trying not to have my voice crack up here on video. I apologize, but just know, guys, this is going to be a rare occurrence. But anyway, so here's what's going on. When it comes to vaccination on board Royal Caribbean ships for sailings going to Alaska, whether it be out of Seattle or Vancouver, vaccine for 12 and up, you must be fully vaccinated, not boosted, just to be clear, right? If you, let's say, for example, took the Pfizer, so the 2 shots, you have the Johnson & Johnson, the 1 shot, you're considered still at this point in time, according to the CDC and the cruise lines, fully vaccinated. 5 through 11 are not required to be vaccinated. However, if somebody is vaccinated, that's 5 through 11, you can show proof of vaccination. The crew will be fully vaccinated as well. Now, I do have friends that are nurses on board Wonder of the Seas, Adventure of the Seas, and Mariner of the Seas. They are also testing the crew once a week. However, by the time Alaska season shows up, that could change to maybe every other week or whatever, depending on what's going on with COVID. It could be every day if Omicron decides to rear its ugly head back over here in the United States and Canada area. So we'll see. Royal will not be doing any testing for you guys, all right? Royal Caribbean will not be doing any testing where you can pay to get testing done over at the terminal as of right now. Also, when it comes to testing requirements, there isn't a ton of details yet, but they're saying in order to enter Canada, obviously, yes, most of you know, in order to go to another country like Canada, because they're very strict on their COVID policies, depending on your age and status will determine what type of test and how far out, as far as a window you have to actually take your test. Now, 2 and up must have a negative COVID test that they did at no more than 48 hours prior to arriving to Canada. It could be a PCR or antigen test, again, depending on the details as far as your age and your status. Now, that's going to be out, I'm guessing soon, sometime within the coming month, and I'll be sure to let all of you know if there is an update when it comes to that. Unvaxxed 2 through 11, you can present a negative, or you will have to present, rather, a negative PCR test taken no more than 3 days prior to entering Canada. All right. When it comes to what you would call a certificate of recovery, it seems like Royal Caribbean will now be looking at potential antibodies as well. Right. You can produce a positive PCR test that was taken between 11 and 90 days prior to your sailing. They don't say anything about a doctor's note, which I'm surprised, but they're saying you have a positive COVID test that was taken between 11 days and 90 days prior to your cruise. They'll also accept that as opposed to you having to get a COVID test. So you can basically get on the ship without presenting a negative COVID test, which is very interesting. Let me know your thoughts on that in the comment section below. Embarkation 2 through 11 will receive a complimentary antigen test upon arrival to the terminal before getting on the ship. That's nice. Canada 5 through 11, you will get a comp antigen test before your sailing. sail away, all right? When it comes to Seattle, unvaxxed people 2 through 11, you'll get a complimentary test 1 day prior to your sailing. Under 2, you do not need to be tested. Excursions, there are no restrictions on excursions as of right now for the Alaska sailing. So that means when you get to Alaska, they won't be doing the excursion bubble where you can only stay with the group. You can free roam if you choose not to take an excursion. If you're taking an excursion, then I'm guessing they're going to have a little bit more leeway and options for people that are taking the excursion. Now, when it comes to masks, and by the way, when it comes to the excursions, for those, let's say if we're sailing from Seattle to whether it be Victoria or Vancouver, it still has not been finalized as far as how Canada is going to conduct the excursions. I'm talking about Alaska, not Canada. Now, also when it comes to the mask, they are optional on board ships like they are on every Royal Caribbean ship. However, that could change at any point in time. Unvaxxed children, however, do have to wear a mask at this point in time, and they are required to wear a mask at the Adventure Ocean. 2 and under also have to wear masks on board ships. And then finally, when it comes to people, let's say that if you're sailing out of Vancouver, for example, if you're entering Canada at all, actually it's for everybody, sorry. This is for people entering Canada to sail out of Canada, and also people like me that are going from Seattle and stopping in Canada on the way to Alaska. There is going to be an Arrive Canada app where we have to put in our Vax card information, our passport information, and this is also going to be required for us to enter Canada. So just to give you guys a heads up, I'm sure Royal Caribbean will figure out a streamlined system that makes it ever easier for everybody in order to understand what exactly it is that they need before they actually go over to Canada. Now, just remember, guys, Canada has been extremely strict throughout the pandemic. I'm not knocking it, not saying it's right, not saying it's wrong, but we all know this. They are at this point, and at least to my knowledge, still pushing for every ship entering over into Canada to be 100% vaccinated, meaning no exemptions or anything like that. Well, there will probably be some, but they are pushing for a 100% fully vaccinated cruise ship. Now, will that happen has yet to be determined. Royal Caribbean has not put out that information as of yet, but either way, we'll see, guys. Anyway, those are your new health and safety protocols for Alaska sailings. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Now, as we sail into our last topic for today's video, of course, you guys should hit that like button if you're enjoying today's video. Also, subscribe not only to this channel, but my other channel. I'll leave it right up here, Jay the Nomad. That way you guys can get not only information about cruising, I'll also be putting my fun cruise vlogs on that channel. I'll be giving you guys information on international travel because this year alone I'm going to Slovakia, I'll be going to the UK, I'll be going to Ireland, I'll be going to Italy. I'm going all over the place. I'll be checking out some resorts, theme parks, primarily resorts over in Mexico that you may be interested in, stuff of that nature. So you guys should definitely go subscribe to that other channel. I got content coming as early as tomorrow. Anyway, guys, we got to talk about what's going on with P&O Ferries because there is yet another update in this crazy saga. Now, before I tell you what's going on, just to give you the backstory, earlier this month here in March, you had P&O that out of the blue, out of nowhere, through a pre-recorded FaceTime or Zoom, however you want to look at it, they fired 800 of their workers, and people obviously were not happy. Now, the company P&O Ferries, they just came out and they end up hiring like an agency to hire a bunch of potentially foreign workers. These workers are believed to be making as low as £5 an hour, which is below the national average over in the United Kingdom. And because of that reason as well, there have been like investigations, and you have these agencies known as the Maritime and Coast Guard agencies that have been checking out these cruise ships and seeing just how prepared and knowledgeable and trained these new crew members are. Come to find out that, well, they are not really prepared at all. They've deemed these ships, 2 of them in fact, which one was the European Causeway, the other one recently is now the Pride of Kent, that has been deemed unfit to sail due to the crew members not really knowing what the heck that they're doing. It has become a safety issue, and it's become a bigger issue because P&O Ferries plays a very large role in not only the passport transportation of people going from Ireland and the UK, but also when it comes to cargo and goods and services that are also being transported on those ships. It's a very large problem. So now you have the government stepping in. What they essentially want is for P&O Ferries to hire back those workers. Now, will that actually happen? It's yet to be determined because so much is already kind of unraveled, and you have P&O Ferries that have already kind of bit the bullet and said, we'll pay what we need to pay, we'll do what we need to do, we'll hand out severance packages. You now have the former crew members that got fired that are kind of accepting the severance packages, and it has become, once again, well, it's been a giant mess. Now, even at the start of this, we've had crew members and captains that were barricading themselves like on the Pride of Hall for 6 to 7 hours, and now you have protests going on and all these other things, strikes that are going on, and it just continues to unfold. Now, I've seen a lot of your frustration out there for people that live in the UK and people that are staying tuned to this whole saga that's taking place. I 100% agree. What P&O Ferries did was absolutely wrong. Now, I do understand the business aspect and how business can be very cutthroat. Let's be real. Let's be honest and fair about this. However, but the way that everything has been done, when you have people that have been working for the company for 2 to 3 decades, you can see where the problem is and how that causes so many hardships. I believe that at the end of the day, I don't knock a company for wanting to make money, right? That's their bottom line. That's why they are there. However, when you become part of a community or you become part of like society to a certain extent, you kind of have an obligation to make sure the people that you are taking care of by way of giving them benefits and paying them so they can feed their families and put food on the table. There is a way that things should be handled. And that's why there are laws and regulations in place in places like Europe and the UK, in which you can't just at the snap of a finger fire people. Now, at that point, that's when you have more loyal people. Like here in the US, for example, you do have to give the 30-day notice or 2 weeks notice or whatever. Personally, I don't believe in that because a company would fire me in a hot second, or anybody in the United States for that matter, for the most part. Anyway, guys, I'm rambling on. I'm going to go ahead and wrap this one up. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Once again, guys, I do apologize for this very raspy voice. I promise I'm going to drink some tea and some honey, and I'll be back to it before you know it. Anyway, guys, I got a lot to do today. Getting over to a Cruise 360. It's a big international cruise event over in Fort Lauderdale this weekend. Going to check out a resort, Margaritaville, in anticipation for my Margaritaville at sea sailing next month. And then I got Odyssey of the Seas this Sunday. And in between that, I'm flying back to Orlando for a breakdance competition. So much going on. Anyway, guys, hit that like button on your way out. I appreciate every single one of you. I love every single one of you. And I'll see you soon. Take it easy.